Hi all, welcome to the another exciting podcast on RPAFeed. So today I have with me Debanjana. Debanjana has 20 plus years of experience into IT industry and she is currently associated with IBM. She started her career right from development and she is currently executive architect. So welcome Debanjana to the podcast and
Thank you, Deependra, for having me.
Excited to have you. Could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, hi. So I'm really excited to be here as a part of this podcast. My name is Debanjana Dasgupta. I am an executive architect and associated partner in IBM. But, I have almost 25 years of experience. And I started my journey with TCS right out of college. So I did my graduation from Jadavpur University, Calcutta. So I'm an electrical engineer by profession. And I joined TCS right out of college. It was like a very, very good school. So all my, initial knowledge, grooming happened there. Then I went on to the role of a tech lead in a mutual funds investment company in the US, Vanguard Group. That was in the US. So we stayed for a few years in the US. Again, a lot of learning in a multicultural environment. And then I came back and joined IBM around 2003. And since then, I have been in IBM, the journey continues.
Thanks, Debanjana, for quickly introducing yourself. With over 20 plus of years of experience, would you like to share your journey with respect to automation? Like how did you started into automation and how did you grow into automation space?
So, I come from, as I said, I come from an engineering background. So I started with development. So I did, it was way back in the previous century almost. So I started with a lot of COBOL, RPG on mainframe. And then slowly I was fortunate enough to kind of move with the changing paradigms. So it was, service-oriented architecture. In fact, before that, it was that web boom that came in, the three-tier web boom, service-oriented architecture, cloud. And then I think middle of this decade, like 2010s, so 2015, around that time, in my organization, we kind of started the focus on automation. And that's when, when the group was incepted, that's when I joined automation. So if you remember, like 2015, 2016, it was all about RPA. So you talk about automation, it's RPA. So, and now it has evolved. So since then, I have been in automation. I've seen the evolution within my organization, in the industry. And now with, the disruptor as coming in the form of Gen AI, it's like there's no limit to it.
Totally agree with your thoughts. With that, like you have seen a lot, right, in your experience. So how do you see the future of automation going forward, like next 5 to 10 years?
I think it is going to be very, very interesting. It's going to evolve at an extremely rapid pace. So again, I'm just going back. So it started with RPA. Then it was like RPA taking the help of AI. So it was RPA driven automation. Then the narrative changed to AI driven automation, but it was traditional AI, which really took time to, build, develop, deploy. Now with, Gen AI coming in with full force, the acceleration of AI is, gone up multifold. So now what we are seeing is more, and we will probably get to see more of it, is Gen AI led automation. And that really expands the scope of automation. I mean, almost everything can be called automation, right? The way it is moving. So I think the opportunity is tremendous, potential is endless, and basically how we use it to the benefit of business, and in fact going beyond business, benefit of humanity as a whole. I think keeping the overall societal impact and how you balance, I think that would be a broader picture that's going to evolve.
Okay. Yeah, so career wise also, like the audience would be interested to know the scope from career perspective. So it's a really cool to get into this field, right, for the audience who are just trying to graduate and looking for opportunity to establish themselves into automation and AI space. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I think this is a very, very growing space. Talk of IT services or talk of captives, most would have a dedicated automation or an intelligent automation group or a team, because the term intelligent automation, it's not one technology, it's basically a convergence of technologies. So there is a lot to learn, B, there is a lot to give. So I think it is a very, very upcoming, not even upcoming, it's a trending area which has a lot of potential. If you talk from a business ROI perspective, it has a lot to give, and there's a lot of potential in what we can do leveraging technology in intelligent automation. But it comes with a lot of learning. We'll have to really learn, and because this is all new.
Yeah, totally agree. So, looking at the books in your background, I just thought of picking up the book that I was just reading the book which you have written. So, for the audience who don't know, this is an Intelligent Automation Simplified book, which Debanjana has, Debanjana is author for this book. If you want to learn something about intelligent automation and get started with that, you can buy this book. It's a really good book. I am still to read the entire book, but I have finished almost 40% of it, and it's really good. I'll paste the link in the description below for the audience.
Thank you.
So Debanjana, when related to the book, right? So, what is your experience of authoring this book? What challenges did you face, and how the idea came for this book?
So it was, so I'm an avid reader, since childhood, just give me a newspaper, and even today, the first thing I do in the morning is, apart from mobile and iPads and all your news feeds come in, but I still prefer reading a newspaper. So I love reading. So when this offer came to me, and this offer came to me actually through LinkedIn, somebody, editor from LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, he reached out to me and said, I am thinking of, publishing a book on this topic. Are you interested? And I kind of jumped onto it, and it was first for me. I did not know how to write a book. The editors from BPB, so it's published by BPB Publications. The editors from BPB helped me, and it took me a while. It was because I was doing it for the first time. But I think there are two things. One is the writing came naturally, and if you have read the book, it's very conversational, like the way I speak. And the second is it's all learning from the job. So, I learned automation on the job. I read, I talked to clients. It was kind of, the knowledge came organically, was built organically. So that's what I tried to put in, because if you see in the market, there are not a lot of books on intelligent automation per se. And also what you would have to do if you are in an organization, if you're trying to build things, if you're say a developer doing automation, or if you're a team lead doing automation, what would be your thoughts or challenges that you have to face apart from learning, say, Python, or apart from learning UiPath? What else? So that's what I wanted to put it in the book, and I hope it served the purpose. But it was a very, very enriching experience for me.
Definitely, it is. It does serve the purpose to get started with. I have like to people to get introduced to the concepts of what is RPA, how things work in an organization perspective, not only just so that is really helpful in that book. And I'm yet to go through the entire content, so definitely I'll share the feedback once I read it through. So, coming to the next question, which is kind of a link to our discussion, can you share some of the insights from your book on how business can get started with intelligent automation?
I think also what I've written in the book, first is we have to understand intelligent automation is a convergence. You could bring in workflows, you could bring in RPA, you have a lot of APIs, you have AI, now you have Gen AI, you could have scripts, you could have, things that automate. It's like the definition of a machine. Anything that helps you reduce the manual work, that's kind of can be termed as automation. That is one. So challenges, I think what I have seen typically, the technology is not a challenge. The challenge is, so in the initial days, say 2015, 2016, 2017, the challenge was to convince clients that you need automation, because it was that time. Now the narrative has shifted. Now people know, clients come and say that, yes, I need automation. That's a given. You don't have to, convince them. It's more like, where do I start? How do I start? And some clients have faced the problem that, they have been promised something, and they have said, this will save 10 people, or it will improve the efficiency by 20%. However, they've not got that. So how do I ensure that I get the ROI? So those are some things which are probably slightly beyond technology, but needs to be defined and settled first before you jump into, writing your code.
Totally agree with you on this point. What did you face, or what did you see are the common challenges that businesses face while implementing automation solutions?
So I think one common problem that we have seen is, say, the business and IT automation. in our typically when we think of automation, so who you are talking to. If it's the IT organization, then there is one conversation probably around your IT operations. That is a smaller narrative. And for example, if you think of the ROI that comes from IT automation, so it's your service management, ticket management, that's, in my mind, that's limited. The discussion has to shift to business automation. So your audience should be, from the CEO's organization, somebody who's managing, say, procurement, somebody who's managing finance and operations, or maybe a loan in a banking industry. So if unless we, the more we position automation in the business processes, the more tangible benefits are we going to get. So I think how you position the conversation, who's your primary stakeholder, who's driving automation, that is very important. And typically in an organization, say in a bank or in a retail, there has to be a collaboration. It cannot be driven by just the business or just the IT. There has to be a collaboration between the business and IT groups to ensure, like, these are my backlog, these are my use cases, this is how I want to do. When that becomes in sync, your ROI, basically you actually get back your ROI.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's come to something on your personal side, like what we can find you doing when you're not working, mostly during weekends, or what are your interest areas apart from the work?
So of course I like to read, so I read a lot.
Okay.
My children keep me full, though they are older now, but I also like to travel a lot. Then one of my passions is music, so I belong to a music group and we have a group locally, so there's a lot of activity. I'm pretty busy over the weekends actually.
That's good, right? To keep yourself busy is the best thing to do, right? So awesome. If as far as you're enjoying, it's good. Coming to the next question is like, so with Gen A and AI stuff coming into picture from last, let's say 7-8 months, right? It has been continuous boom, and people are trying to build solutions which are Gen AI, which have Gen A capabilities, other functionalities. So what is your take? Like how organizations can implement Gen AI solutions while considering the fact that responsible AI, ethical AI, so all other guidelines in place. So how like based on your experience, your into this field, how you would advise organizations can move ahead building these kind of solutions?
So I think Gen AI is very powerful, right? And it is accelerating the adoption of traditional AI. That is one. But it comes with, as you said, a lot of risk and a lot of apprehension. And I think now it's kind of it's evolving, and it has to come with a set of guardrails. It cannot be used indiscriminately because at the core is your data. The better the data, the better the results. That's a given. That's even for traditional AI. But we need to be very responsible. It is empowering. Things like bias, things like fairness, things like transparency has to be given a very, very deep thought. When we are building commercial solutions with Gen AI, because the impact, for example, these deep fakes floating around, they have very big societal impacts. As as tech companies, as tech people, we kind of have a lot of responsibility in ensuring that this tech is used for good. I believe in that philosophy that technology is exceptional, technology is very powerful, but it has to be used for good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I totally resonate again with your thoughts. With a lot of turbulence coming, I would say, like let's move on to the previous year. Look, until previous year, until the advent of chat gpt, I would say, until it reached to the mass audience. Before that, it was more RPA in terms of automation, like people were doing RPA projects, right? So now people want to transition themselves and project themselves as a entire automation developer. So what would be your advice to those developers out there, how they can transition themselves, how they can learn things and keep themselves upskilled?
Right. See, I think one thing is have your basics. We need to have our basics very strong. So foundations on software development. What is software development? What it entails, and that will still be same. With whatever technology, tools, languages come in. Once that foundation is strong, then you can actually extrapolate or position, the different technologies. But as you rightly said, there was a period when everybody, and in fact, including me, UI, it was BRISM, then it was UI, and then it was like these players came up with their AI capabilities, and they are also evolving with the markets. Then currently, I think there is a very big boom on process mining, and how process mining can actually be used, it's a driver for automation, how it starts, with the monitoring of the processes. So, the guidance that I give to my team or, my mentees also, and in fact, I also follow is have your basics very strong. You cannot go wrong in your basics, and then move with the period time. For example, if Python is the skill that is hot now, if process mining is a tool that is hot now, get into it, learn it. There are lots of certifications available. Even beyond certifications, practice it. And I think in today's time and space, open source projects are a very good area to practice, because I often hear from my juniors saying that I'm not getting an opportunity. And it's absolutely, for a business, it's not possible that I will just focus on the cutting edge technologies. We still have to do mainframes. So if you have to practice beyond your day job, practice in open source, and nothing like it. It gives you a very good exposure.
But Debanjana, in when you combine automation technologies, like it's hard to build something which is open source. For example, in if you consider RPA, so the RPA bots you cannot build in open source because there are limited resources
Right, right.
available. So that is I keep on getting this feedback from the people who reached out to me. They are not able to practice their stuff. They are able to learn the concepts, but they find challenges because there are all the tools which we try to automate, like all the platforms that we try to automate are all enterprise applications. So they will not have their community edition. For example, SAP automation,
Right.
people struggle a lot until they are in an organization actually doing the automation for them. They will not learn it. So these
That
are
is
some
that is
of the
that is true. I think, yeah,
uh,
practical problems. In fact, even within an organization, say, and I'll take SAP again. In real client scenarios, we have faced the challenge of testing RPA. Because you need a near production type of environment to test your bots, right? And not many organizations have that ready with a near pre-prod data and all. So that's a challenge. Of course, it's there.
so yeah, these are the things which you only get on job. So moving on to the next question, Anjana, a person, let's say they've started their career into automation space, and how they can, like, you can project a growth ladder for them, like how they can grow into their career.
See, I think what they can focus on. So typically, for example, say a person has got into an automation team and they have started doing, say, RPA. And now the RPA tools come with, AI enablement, they have AI capabilities. So I would say get as diverse experience as possible. Then typically, commercial use case, if I say end-to-end RPA, of course they can be there, but typically we have seen RPA clubbed with, maybe a workflow. Who's calling your RPA bot? Or RPA is calling, say, a AI, small AI component, maybe a decisioning component to kind of give a decision, or it is calling a intelligent document processing to extract data. So these are all integrations. So any automation developer, I would say, need to understand integration very well, because at the end, it's an integration of multiple technologies. Now, from a career path growth, typically from the organization from where I come from, we have very defined paths like technology or consulting. Now, it depends upon your passion. So for me, it was like I wanted to be in technology. I kind of pursued that path as opposed to, getting into project management. Project management is intense, as well as, technology, being say a developer, a team lead, a module lead, an architect. So if you see, like, I'm an architect in my organization. So there could be, the paths, but I think when you have to decide what should be your career path, the base, again, the founding principle is, where do you see yourself, or where does your passion lie? If you think you are very good with, organizing, managing people, go there, because we need very strong project managers. If you think, no, you are more into, say, innovation, doing things on your own, finding out things, troubleshooting, playing with new technologies, get into the, developer and the architect path. Because at the end, in an organization, both the roles have a lot of value and they are complementary. You cannot survive, one cannot happen without the other. So I think one of the things that I tell my children also, do something that makes you happy, where you find your passion.
That's true. That's true. Without passion, things will not happen because, yeah, I mean, if you're passionate about it,
Yeah,
if you lack certain skill, but you will get that skill acquired and you'll do the things. Yeah, passion is
exactly.
important.
Exactly.
Okay. With that, like, what advice would you like to give someone who is interested, like are in college grads or last year of their education, and they're coming to the like they're just graduating, right? Or for these that kind of audience, what advice would you like to give them if they are thinking of starting their career into automation and AI space?
I think, apart from, building the skills, the core skills and the tertiary skills, the pace at which the world is changing, technology is changing. So we need to be very aware, and you have to read up a lot. I mean, everyday things are changing. Like, think of ChatGPT. I mean, it just came into came into existence. Like, we came to know of it, and within a year, like, everything has changed. So if you don't have a GenAI use case you're working on, then you are probably, lagging behind. So keep up with technology, read a lot, skill yourself, and it might be very overwhelming. Even at my age, I think, like, I keep learning new technologies even now, and we have to go on. So it's overwhelming at some times, but it's very exciting as well. And the way you change, see the change, see the world changing, and see, say, businesses changing, business models changing. For example, a use case that I used to implement, say, 10 years back, maybe a simple loan approval use case, and the way it happens now, it has changed, and it has changed for good. Experience, efficiency, compliance, it has changed for good. So I think that is kind of, what kind of keeps you moving. So always have that passion to learn and be aware of what is going on around yourself. I think those are some key messages.
Okay, and those guys like who are just get graduating or just out of the college, so they are kind of freshers, right? We tag them as a fresher. So it's difficult to get a job for a fresher into automation or no matter any field, right? Organizations don't prefer freshers. Like there are MNCs who does take them and train them, but there are not much mid scale organizations, or there are not much opportunities for freshers, right? So how a fresher can get a job into these fields? Any advice would you like to give?
I think so. In today's curriculum, I think there are a lot of internships, summer trainings that are there, that they have to do mandatory. So take them very seriously. Build a portfolio. Then there are, I think, some online coding platforms where you get some rating. And this I actually learned from my son. Where you get rating, where you can practice code writing. That gives you some amount of exposure. Then there are online internships also, I think, from big companies as well as, smaller startups. I think these things, small things, if you keep on doing, and if you build your portfolio, if you build your corpus of, I would not say work per se, but this is what I have done. This is the exposure. And then I think a beautiful platform is LinkedIn. It gives you a, kind of opportunity to do, not only connect, but to tell the world what you have done. And I have seen, LinkedIn is kind of a leveler. It does not probably, you can be a fresher, graduate, hire, putting out your articles, putting out your thoughts. So it is a very good platform. Start, even from when you're college, start with that mindset that I need to have a point of view of myself. So if it's RPA, say the evolution of our RPA, where it is going, there are a lot of articles around. Read 5 articles and create your own point of view. That's a very good habit, because as you move, or as in a journey of a technology leader, you need to have your point of view on, things like that. So I think those are small things. It will take a lot of time, but these will help you, kind of build your brand, if I can say so. That will help.
Yeah, that's a very good advice, I think. And I also keep on saying those guys, like whoever reach out and through my YouTube channel, whenever I try to create videos on around this topic. So I just keep on mentioning, like, do something practically, rather you have learned the
Yeah.
theory and put it into practice and upload that on LinkedIn, on GitHub, and build your
Yeah.
portfolio that you have worked on small use cases, because you are not employed and you cannot work for an organization, but out of interest you have applied your learnings here, and these are your portfolios. So you will be standing out from rest of the audiences or rest of the applicants. Thanks for joining. Thanks again for giving your time to this podcast. I would like to hear from you. How was your experience on being this podcast?
I think this has been fantastic, and thanks for having me in your podcast. I think this is a wonderful platform, and all thanks to you. You are doing a wonderful job in disseminating knowledge. So maybe people like me, or people with very significant experience with their knowledge in the industry and with what they have seen. It's very important to disseminate that knowledge so that the people who are looking for it, it actually goes to them. And I think this wonderful initiative that you are doing is serving that purpose, very, very well. It has been a very, a pleasure for me. It was lovely talking to you. It's been a fantastic experience.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. And this idea came to me just because like I was listening to lot of podcasts and but couldn't find specific podcast related to automation space and rather RPA space to get started with. So I thought, like, why not create it and try to get some people who have experience. And luckily, I'm lucky enough. My LinkedIn network never disappoints me, and whoever I have reached out to till date, they have all agreed and they've spared their time. So yeah, going good.
I think that's the beauty of I don't know it. Like, I have spent my life in the IT industry, and I find in this industry people are always willing to help each other in terms of sharing knowledge. You reach out to anybody, within your organization, outside the organization, people come back and say that yes, I know this is what I can help you with. Even if they don't know, they will point you out to someone else. So that community feeling is very strong.
Totally agree. So
Exactly.
yeah. It was really nice having a conversation with you, Debanjana. Thanks for your time. Thanks for accepting my invite and joining me in this podcast.
Thank you so much, 𝘱𝘕endra. It was a wonderful conversation.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.